And it was almost like out of a movie. I'm sitting on the bus bench and flapping through the pages, and then I come across a extra credit class for stand-up comedy. Like, what? This is a class? It said stand-up comedy. You got like 4 credits. Oh, dude, sign me up. I remember going in that class, and that was the day I dropped out of school. When I went into that class, I was like, I've been wasting my time for 10 years. I should have done this.
Well, I love the San Gabriel Valley.
Welcome to the My SGV podcast.
So I grew up here and I still live in Alhambra.
I was raised in between Temple City and Alhambra.
Eventually resided in South San Gabriel.
Our mission is to capture and share the stories of the people of the San Gabriel Valley.
Monterey Park has pretty much been my whole life.
Well, I'm proud to say that I was born and raised in the San Gabriel Valley.
We believe our diversity is what makes the SGV great. And no matter where you are from in the San Gabriel Valley, you will feel welcome. All right, SGVers, welcome back to another episode of the My SGV podcast. Thank you for tuning in. If you are new here, we bring you the stories of the people of the San Gabriel Valley. And if you are a returning listener, thank you so much for spending this time with us. We do appreciate it. Well, Scott, I laugh when I say this, but I asked you if you were the classical clown, and you said sort of. So can you talk about that?
Oh, at various times I was the teacher's pet. You know, sometimes I was the class clown. I went to a small grade school, and actually went up through 8th grade. So 30 people in my class, and 8 grades. So we were all a pretty close, tight group. But I was a kind of a class clown. I always wanted attention.
What sort of things did you do?
Oh, I would, make remarks. I would say things. Actually, in my better days, I was pretty witty, maybe not so much now. But, I always had some kind of like smart remark to make. A teacher, after a teacher would say something or a student would say something.
Would the teacher laugh?
Yeah, basically the teachers liked me. So even, it was kind of a weird situation because I could be a little bit disruptive, but not really. I was a good kid, but I was kind of a smart aleck too at times. Yeah.
And were you like that at home?
No, not at all. No, not. I never was disrespectful to my parents. Yeah, never. Well, I mean, I was with my brothers and sisters and with, like people who would come over or friends. Yeah.
Like you were a smart aleck with your siblings.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, I mean, yes, that's probably a good way to describe me. Yeah.
Mm. Well, I don't think I definitely was not like that with my brother. And I don't think that I was ever the class clown. I didn't make remarks. I never would have that sort of attention on me. That's just not my personality. But I do remember writing a lot of standards though, like thousands of standards. And they were almost always like, I will not talk in class. I will, 500 times, 1,000 times I was writing these things. Oh, yeah. And I don't have any memory of, violating any rule, but I do have lots of memories of writing a lot of standards.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And, I don't think they ever had any effect other than like making me learn to write it faster,
Yeah, or figure out a way. Yeah, because I had to do that too. I will not, do this or do that.
I don't know if they still do that in school, but that's a strange discipline to me. Yeah, it doesn't really do much in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, well, before we get into today's guest, thank you so much to Paris Baguette for sponsoring us and providing the delicious pastries and treats for our guests every show. Go check them out, Paris Baguette in San Gabriel. Say hi to Jason for us. All right, so on to today's guest. Today, we're rolling with a guy who's mastered the blend of humor and half pipes, a local legend at the skate park and on the comedy stage. Cruising through life with a skateboard under one foot and a mic in hand, he's teaching the next generation how to shred and keep the crowds roaring with his stand-up routines. He's made a career out of every class clown's dream, showing us all that with enough grind, you can kickflip your way into any career. Strap in for some epic tales from the halfpipe. Give it up for the skater who's as smooth on stage as he is on the streets, an SGVer like you, Mr. George Wang Jr. George, welcome to the show.
That was the best intro I've ever, more than any combat. I want to take you to every show and just have that as the intro.
There's your.
I loved all the allegories, like kickflip your way into the humor and the half pipe. I know that took some time to write, so shout out for you for that. That was dope.
Awesome,
nice.
Thank you. So George, I've been following you on social media ever since we connected, really, before this show. And I'm really glad that you're here. And
I'm glad to be here.
To hear your story. But let's start with what's your connection to the San Gabriel Valley? So
I basically came here when I was 10 from Colorado. And it was the first time I ever saw other Asian people.
Okay.
So, I feel like my real, the way I grew up culturally and what I became was because of San Gabriel. And we grew up skateboarding. So we were probably one of the only, this was before skate parks. This was when skateboarding was still seen as kind of bad. Like we were the hierarchy would be like gangsters, taggers, and probably skateboarders. This is before the Olympics.
So you were like Bart Simpson.
Yeah, I was basically Bart Simpson moving into San Gabriel, which is, it's funny you said that because that's my favorite skateboarder. That was the first skater I ever got exposed to. But when we came here, we started a little crew with a bunch of little derelicts, and we called ourselves Balls Out. And it was basically like Jackass before Jackass. It was just a bunch of the kids that the bad kids, the ones that went to continuation school or their parents were never around to monitor their report cards. So we would just start from morning to night, and we would just skate up and down the San Gabriel Valley. I mean, places you would go to in your car, they'd be $40 in an Uber, was us just skating. Mm-hmm. And we would basically meet up and skate from San Gabriel to Alhambra to Monterey Park, and we would just kind of roam wild and just skate all day. And we would just film independent videos, which we actually sold later at Penny Lane Records. Remember Penny Lane?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we used to sell these like mixtapes. Yo, man, you want to buy a skate video? And it was shot all low budget. My friend stole the camera from this video class in high school. So it was kind of low budget. The date was still on the bottom. It was good morning, and the timestamp was wrong. But it was just kind of we would just take this camera and document our lives. And eventually, during the early 90s, we actually became the first well-known skateboarding crew out of San Gabriel. And all these other cities knew about our team, and we lost the name Balls Out. We turned into, we called ourselves Technique. Okay. And we just put out a bunch of videos, and I think we were kind of before the explosion of skateboarding. Before the big thing that you see now that is just so common to skateboard, we were kind of part of that whole subculture.
Do your videos still surface?
Yeah. A lot of some of these videos, I mean, they're still on videotape. We got to digitize them. But, there are guys out there who've put stuff out online, and every now and then we'll scour the web and find something. But for the most part, I like that it just kind of remained, because everything was VHS. So we still have the VHS tapes.
Oh, wow.
And
you got to digitize it.
Yeah, we got to digitize it.
So how many people were in your crew?
I'd say there was it's kind of like the Wu-Tang. There was a big family of a bunch of affiliates, but the core group was 5 guys, 4 guys actually. No, 6 guys. And to this day, we all remain best friends.
So were you all from the same school?
We were all from different schools.
Oh.
And it was funny because I never really hung out with anyone from school. I would just go wait for either ditch school and go meet up a friend at another school, or just wait till after school. And
so where were you living at that time?
I lived in San Gabriel.
Okay.
For, I'd say, 24 years. Okay. I've been in the San Gabriel Valley. I lived right there by, do you know where Lucky Burgers is?
Yeah.
Yeah, by the train tracks.
Oh, okay. Isn't there 2? Aren't there 2? Just one Lucky Burgers?
Okay, San Gabriel
might be Lucky
Library.
Boy, but yeah.
Oh, Lucky Boy in Pasadena.
Yeah.
No, there was a Lucky Burger in San Gabriel. It was very iconic.
No, I know the name. Is it gone? or
Yeah.
Okay.
Pandemic wiped it out.
Okay, yeah, sure. I know exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh man, by those tracks, like I lived by those tracks. And remember before they had the underground, and like
Yeah.
they would just lay on the horn at night, like at 3:00 at night. I thought the conductor was like doing it on purpose.
Remember how scary those tracks were?
Yeah.
Like that's when like gang, like you'd see the gang sangra and you'd be so scared. Like my friend would, like never go cross the tracks. They'll kill you. Like I remember being so scared of those railroad tracks. Like there was so many urban legends around it.
So you went to San Gabriel High then?
I went to Gabrielino.
Oh, okay.
And I was the second graduating class ever from Gabrielino. So we had I went from junior, like sophomore, to the first senior. So I didn't have the real high school experience. Like I wanted to be shoved in a locker or like, being pulled. Like I wanted a wedgie.
The things that you did to other people, you wanted that to have been
There was
done?
no high school. It was just a bunch of bungalows. Like they couldn't afford to pass the law to make it. So they were like, let's turn your middle school into a high school. And I was like waiting to come to high school, and I just went back to middle school.
Well, that's pretty traumatic.
It was so traumatic. It was like the same people. I'm
and
like,
you
we're
haven't
the hot
gotten
cheerleaders.
you haven't
It was all
gotten
the same-
over it either. I
No,
can
not really.
tell.
I was deprived of a real high school. Like you watch those movies where like I didn't have that.
Wow.
It was like literally we called it bungalino at the time.
Okay.
And
yeah.
all you did was just go to it was like a trailer
Where
park.
was it? Same place
Same
it is
area.
now?
And what was funny is they never got the money to fund it. And then out of nowhere, it got caught on fire. And then all of a sudden, people were like, yay, let's raise the money to do this. I'm like, dude, someone did that on purpose.
Wow.
Yeah.
So where were your buddies from? That like they were just in the surrounding area? Did they go to like Alhambra, Keppel?
Yeah, they were went to Loxa, which was like the school for like the gifted kids. Like that's where like a lot of like pop stars come out of. And then my other two really good friends went to San Marino.
Okay.
And it was kind of weird. I'm like, how did you get into San Marino? Because they're not to be mean, but they're a little more on the ghetto side. But they were on the border. So they brought this like,
Submarino. They lived in Submarino.
Yeah, exactly. But it was San Marino, Alhambra, and does Baldwin Park count? Or no, El Monte.
El Monte, definitely.
We had one guy in El Monte. And we used to have like another bunch of kids from Pasadena. And they were called the PSC crew, Pasadena style crew.
So were you were you gangsters or?
No, we were wannabe. Like, oh, it was bad. Like everyone tried to be a tagger, so we'd go on buses and like bring a little arrowhead scribe. Like we were the bad tagging, like the toilet flush handle. You're like, come on, dude. Like no one had any like the only guy with artistic talent went on to becoming a really well-known tattoo artist. But all of us are just like cavemen, basically, just like the most basic bad graffiti, just to be cool.
So you wouldn't mug people
No.
and take their, okay.
No, we were good kids.
Okay.
But we got ourselves into a lot of trouble. Like, I remember one time we were skating down San Gabriel Boulevard. And this is when, like, Asian gangs were very, very prevalent. So these Asian gangsters just drove by and they're like, F skaters. And my friend went like this, like, gave him the finger. And literally, like, 2 minutes later, that car U-turns. And the guy comes out with a baseball bat. And his friends come out with, like, knives. Hey, who flipped my friend off? And, like, they were... Basically, everyone was just so scared. Like, we were always getting kind of... In a way, we got punked a lot. Like, we didn't go out looking for trouble, but the trouble came to us. Just because I feel like we were just out there, like, little street punks and... exposed to all of that,
So what happened there?
Nothing. Two of my friends jumped in the bush. Like normally you'd have that guy to stand up for you. We were like we got held hostage. Like, whatever you want, here's my lunch, buddy. You want my friend's skateboard, dude? Here you go. Here's my shoes. Please don't hit me with that bat. I'm very scared. We're like 12 years old at the time.
Wow.
Just being surrounded by like watching men. Come on, man. Why you flip my friend out, man? I kill you. We're like, dude, all right, man. We don't want none of this.
Man.
Wow.
Yeah.
So during that time, like, where did you learn skating? Like, where did you learn the tricks? Like, were there videos or,
I'm glad you asked. There was this bank called Chino Valley Bank. I think it's Citizens Bank. but it's on Del Mar and Las Tunas.
Del Mar and Las Tunas. That's it's a Chase now. There's Chase in Bank of America.
Right next to Chase. Actually, it's funny because that was kind of the corner.
Oh, yeah, right.
So So we would build our own things and we would skate the Bank of America because there's no skate parks. So we would build our own like ramps, our own fun boxes, and we would skate. We put that at Bank of America if we could find someone with a truck that day. But if we couldn't, we would just go skate Chino Valley Bank. It was just this huge parking lot. And it was crazy. Like, we kind of turned it into a skate park. Like, you'd go there after school, and there'd just be a bunch of kids skating. And it was like, you know, we built our own little community, and that's kind of where everyone learned.
You just teach yourself tricks?
Well, at the time, it was more like you could buy, like, videotapes. And, you know, this was pre-internet. So the only way you would find out about new stuff was, like, if you went to the video skate shop and bought, like, a new skate tape. And those tapes were so important because it showed the progression of skating at the time because there was nothing really else. And then it would just be kind of learning from each other. So it was like, you know, because skateboarding isn't like a competitive sport where you want to go and beat other teams, but you do want to kind of like, you know, there is like a friendly competition with people skating. So if like one guy learns something, like you'll do everything you can to like kind of learn his tricks because you don't want that guy to have one over you. So it was a lot of like, you know, it was a lot of like pushing each other, which I liked, to be better for ourselves. And then because we were a team, everyone represented the team. So when we put these videos out, we wanted everyone to like rip and be good because everyone was going to see these videos.
Who was an influential skater for you at that time?
There's this dude named Daewon Song. He, at the time, there wasn't a lot of Asian American skateboarders. And he was probably one of the ones really putting it out there. And so, like, you know, I felt like he was representing all of us Asian Americans because the other guy was like Tony Hawk. Like, actually,
when did Tony Hawk come along?
Well, Tony Hawk was a lot earlier than Daewon.
Oh.
But, you know, there wasn't too many Asian Americans. And that's why I think my role as an Asian American skateboarder was kind of important to the scene. Just because it gave another kid like some maybe ambition to be like, hey, he skates, I can skate too. Because, you know, Asian parents, a lot of the girls I dated were like, what does he do again? He plays on a stick? Like, no, you got to go date that tennis coach or something. Not the skater, dude. This guy, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say Daewon. And then a lot of the guys I looked up to were always like, you know who I always looked up to? It wasn't even like famous people. I always liked funny people. So there was a guy at my school named Mike Logren. And I always thought this guy is going to be like the next Rob. He was so funny. I like emulated this guy. Like at the time when I came, I wasn't all Mr. Comedy. Like I just like would admire how this guy, and he skated. He's actually the guy who kind of brought me into skating. But I was just so amazed at how this guy would just floor a room. He could do like every impersonation of like every single person, celebrity. And like everyone just gravitated to Mike.
That was high school?
It was high school. Mike Logren, he was a legend.
And where is he now?
He sells cars. He came up to me. It was almost like it was like Freaky Friday, like Parent Trap. Like, you're me and I'm you now. Like, because he's the more quiet, reserved parent.
Oh, yeah?
And he's very like he's went from like a level 10 to a level 0.
And he's a good salesman? I
think he was probably like managing the Honda Gaudi or whatever in Alhambra. Yeah, he's done really well for himself. And for me, I was I was more the observant type. I kind of like was trying to figure out who I was. Because Colorado, there was no Asians. It was very white, very white. There was a lot of like, racism, but you didn't know it was racism. Like, I didn't know pulling your eyes back was racist, right? So I do that to my mom, like, Mom, you're a Chino. Like, you're a Chino, right? Because it's like, you don't know that this is bad.
Oh, kids did that to you when you were in Colorado?
Oh, man, it was horrible. And, like, I look back, I'm like, wow, it was so like easy to be racist openly towards an Asian guy. Like you could pull your eyes back or say ching chong. And dude, I got called Chino so much I thought it was my name in Spanish. Like I say this joke. And I remember growing up, if it didn't matter what type of Asian you were, you could be Cambodian. If you went to a Hispanic grade school, they all had a rhyme they would tell all the Chinese kids. And it went like this. It would go, Chino, Chino, Japonés, come caca y no me des. Chino, Chino, Japonés. And I would go around, Chino, Chino, Japonés. I thought it was like, I would say it to my mom and dad because it was like a nursery rhyme. Like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah. It's eat shit, none for me.
Yeah, with the Japanese guy. You and the Japanese guy. I'm like, hey, you know about the Nanking, have you read that book? Like, if I'm going to eat shit, it'd be with like a Thai guy, not a Japanese dude, like, who made this rhyme? Why are we eating your poop? And why don't we want Eddie? Like, I thought this was normal. And that's why I love skating, because skating didn't care about race. Skating was, you're good, you suck, or you're dope. There was we didn't notice the black guy. We noticed like the good guy who was good. So in a lot of ways, I kind of grew up not having any color lines. Or I never saw races and groups and stuff like that. I just saw everyone for who they were. Yeah.
And then you got jumped by the Asians here.
Oh, dude, my friend, he was one of those like import guys. And I remember this guy lowered his car so low. He's such an idiot. He couldn't even get over speed bumps. So we went skating at like Alhambra High. And he's trying to get over the speed bump. He's not like trying to like rev anyone, but there's an Asian gang nearby hanging out. And he's trying to, and these guys thought he was trying to like bang on them. So then we get surrounded by those guys. Hey man, why try to rev my boy? But no, dude, it's because his car's too lowered. Yeah, it was, dude, just every time.
Is my memory correct? Was Gleaming the Cube a skateboard movie?
Yeah, it was an old
skateboard movie, right?
Classic. It was with Christian Slater.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And they go under the big rig with the Pizza Hut.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Yeah. Wow. I think that's like an 80s movie, right?
I think that was one of the first movies that really put skating on the map. Thrashin' was another one with Josh Brolin. Did you ever see that one?
No.
Oh, it's good. It's good. Okay. It's like cheesy good though.
So, George, you were quiet in high school, right? But you were already a skater, right? And then so, where did you start to develop this desire to express yourself in this way?
I think it was just hanging out with that Mike guy. When you hang out with someone long enough, they just rub off on you, and especially if you look up to them. So I feel like he taught me kind of in a way, just observing him, like how he could like say something at the right time in a class. It would be like he'd wait the whole class for that teacher to give him that little pocket, and he just boom hit him with that that tagline, and I just started to do that. Like I didn't even like school. I wanted to go in there and get the one word in that made the class laugh, and that was my whole goal. Like I wasn't disruptive. I just wanted to say that one line, and it made me feel so good. Like I was addicted to that. And I think that's why I became class clown, because I was kind of known to say funny things. Not that I was like the funniest guy like how Mike was, but I was very clever. And it's funny because no one tells you like, hey, go do comedy. There's like, everyone's like, dude, when my teacher, he taught computer science or something, when he found out I wasn't doing comedy, he Facebooked me like, you're not in jail? Like he couldn't believe that like I took that, like me ruining his whole like semester and turned it into an art form, right?
Wow.
Yeah, so it's funny that like, there's things that school never said that skateboarding and comedy could be a career. So, I went for a long time just really lost in life, trying to figure out what it is. What am I what am I supposed to do to make a living that I can be happy doing,
What was life like at home for you during that time of high school skating and, trying to find yourself?
It was pretty chill. Like my dad was one of those Well, fast forward to that. Me might have a beautiful relationship now, but during that time, not so much. He was just one of those like guys that would always go on business trips. You know, it's like, isn't a business trip 2 to 3 weeks? He's out for like 5 to 9 years. Like, I miss you. I missed you my whole life. Like,
Oh, wow.
he's always on these, like, he was out in China doing stuff. But I was kind of out most of the time, you know? I think that a lot of my high school days was just spent outside. Like, I just recall never coming home.
How was your mom? What was she like?
Mom was very sweet. Mom took me to buy me my first skateboard. Very frugal, though. Couldn't get the one that was like all nice with the cool graphic. No, you get the half price. You know? I'll sell only. You know, but, I like that because my mom's frugalness has taught me to like be better at my finances. Like the way I think more like my mom. You know, and my mom just really sweet. You know, my mom really kind of reminds me of a Pokemon. You know, I call her Pokemon. But just always very, very happy, very supportive. She was never one of those tiger moms.
And how did your parents end up in Colorado?
Well, my dad is a retired chef. And so my dad moved to Colorado at a very young age and he started a monopoly of restaurants. At the time, Colorado, that was before Panda or Benihana. And I actually have a tattoo of it right here, Dr. Food Manchu. That was my dad's fast food franchise.
Yeah.
And so he owned 8 restaurants. He had, I think, 4 or 5 franchise locations. And he was really out trying to do kind of what Panda did. But I think he was just too early. And I think his problem was he had horrible management. And so eventually, like, the empire crumbled. And that's when we came here. We went from like living this really high life in Colorado. And I remember coming here, maybe I think I was 9 or 10. And then it was weird because we went from a house to like me sharing bunk beds with my sister all of a sudden. So like we went from very successful to kind of like we were struggling, and it was cool to see both sides of it because to be honest, even my dad said, he was like, even when I had it all in Colorado, like just being here, being with the family, like having less was almost more. Because it was the only time I actually got to see my dad. He wasn't always working. He was driving. I drive a cab now. He was all happy. And it was cool, And I feel like life begun when we moved here. Because I felt like we assimilated pretty well. And I discovered myself while I was here. I just felt like Colorado was like a blur, Kind of like nothing really happened out there. Just snow and being cold and yeah.
So what are you today?
I run a kids skateboarding camp. I teach kids full time, and I do comedy, stand-up comedy.
And where do you go for your stand-up work?
I'm at all the clubs. I do, I've done the Laugh Factory. Ice House is the club I started out of. But as you start to, grow with comedy, you just kind of go where, like how you are an attorney, like where the client takes you, what case are you on next? So for me, like I'll do a club one week and then next I'm doing like a bar mitzvah. Like, it's exciting because, I'll get all kinds of gigs. Like I'll go from anywhere from like a backyard party to like a fancy restaurant to a charity event to and it's cool because it's like a new adventure every single time.
Are you pretty busy?
Yeah, really busy. And then the thing that really kind of blew up was the skateboarding lessons. That kind of came out of nowhere, to be honest. The skateboarding lessons. And
you said you run a camp?
Yeah, I teach kids full time. I call it a camp, but basically it's kind of like a Miyagi-Do,
Oh.
Like I have a lot of kids I work with. So basically, during the pandemic, when everything closed down, I had lost my job and, was just kind of thinking what the next move was. And my girlfriend at the time suggested, because I was working with maybe like 1 or 2 kids as kind of a side hobby. she suggested that maybe you should put some videos up on TikTok. And of course I was opposed to it because I was like, it's not singing or dancing. She's like, it doesn't have to be. And the next thing you know, I put those videos up and they went viral.
Wow.
They all hit 2-3 million views. And like, I had no idea like how much that was going to change my life, because next thing you know, I'm flooded with emails, like more emails than I can handle, of every kid and parent and business. Like, it didn't even matter. They all just wanted to learn how to skate. And since it was during the pandemic, everyone had time on their hands and they wanted to be outside. And from that, I got an article from Business Insider. They approached me, can we write an article about it? They write the article about it. And then like next thing you know, like the last 3 years, I've been fully booked.
Really?
Yeah, I've waiting lists. Like, really did not even plan on that happening.
Were you one of the few or only persons to do this?
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of skate coaches at all. And I know I've put a few guys out who are doing really well. Like, they didn't even know that they could have just tapped in. You know, it's like that book I've read, The Alchemist, where the guy goes around looking for the hidden treasure when it's just within him the whole time. So I was just going around in and out of jobs, just dialing in, you know, just settling for the paycheck. And then when the pandemic hit and I literally had no other choice, I think that's when the gold showed, because I took a chance on the one thing that I never wanted to make a profit off of, is skateboarding. It's just pure passion. You know, I'm probably one of the only guys that out of all the skaters from that generation that still skateboards every day. And it's funny how, like, if you just stay with something every day, like, you will never know where that road will lead. But the key is you gotta stay on the path. And I think I put in so much time and love that eventually, like, the universe was like, all right, here's your moment. And I've literally, I can't tell you right now, like, I am so happy. I wake up every day feeling blessed, because I don't have this like toxic coworker adult energy anymore from my old jobs. I get like little kids like, yay, went down the hill today. So I go home with all this like transparent, fun, silly energy. And it just reminds me of like what life really is, just being a kid, you know?
Are you teaching groups or is it one-on-one?
Groups, one-on-ones.
Everything?
Everything.
And so where's your actual location then?
I bounce around from different skate park to skate park.
Okay.
I say I'm less Cobra Kai. I'm more Miyagi. Like, I like to build long-term relationships, be a part of the kid's life. A lot of the kids I've been working with have been more than a few years. And, you know, I play a big role more than just skating. And, you know, I have groups. I've done bigger groups.
I must say, George, I really enjoy watching your social media. Like I see his day every day. Like, he goes skating, he skates, he's teaching, he goes to eat, you go to the UFC gym, you work out, you do your cryovac stuff, and then you get a massage. You visit your dad.
Right next to him.
Yeah. And but what I get from all that, and I seen you, is just like what you're saying now. Like, there's just this passion and joy and love in what you're doing, and it's evident. You know, especially when you're like with the kids, showing them a trick and something.
Yeah. I love it, man.
Yeah. It's really, really cool to see.
What is? I know we would normally mention it at the end of the show, but I'm just curious to take a look. Is it Instagram or TikTok?
I have both. It's George Wang Jr. on Instagram and TikTok. The TikTok is the one with like the bigger following, because it that was the one that blew up. And then my Instagram is just under George Wang Jr.
So your whole day is skating and eating
and comedy.
And then comedy.
Bro, I get to hang out with kids and make people laugh. Who doesn't want that life? And I get to hang out with my dad and eat good food.
Wow. So
I love.
Where did you eat yesterday?
Okay, so lately, because my dad is getting older and he's had a lot of real serious setbacks, quadruple heart bypass, beat stomach cancer, hernia, everything is starting to fall apart. So I've kind of made it more of an effort, because we used to just be foodies, like anything, everything under the sun. but recently more trying to focus on health and diet. So we've traded in the KFC for like tuna fish sandwiches from Subway, you know, or salads, and steamed instead of oil, going out. And since he's a chef, it's fun to watch him take this new, like, you know, precipice of cooking and health and create things, because he loves to cook. So now he'll like, hey, come over. I prepared 6 tunas for you for the whole week with like broccoli and everything. I'm like, yeah, let's go. Like, this is great.
Awesome.
So yeah. Yesterday was a huge salad I made with sweet potatoes. I put the Japanese miso sauce on it, boiled eggs, shredded chicken, cilantro, tomatoes.
Are you an only child?
I have an older sister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Does she get to join in on?
She lives in Hawaii.
Oh,
she lives on the
okay.
Big Island and has her own little family out there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
George, we ask each guest to bring an item of significance
Yes.
with them. What did you bring with you today?
So I brought a seashell with a Carl Jung quote my dad wrote. And the reason this is important is this is the quote that changed my life. So prior to this whole pandemic thing with the TikTok, I had gotten very sick, like deathly sick. And it pretty much, you know, like I couldn't skateboard. I couldn't really talk. It was like a neurological disorder where like half my face was paralyzed. It was a really weird thing. And I remember kind of just, I was not pleasant to be around. And my dad tried everything he could to like cheer me up. And I remember this one day he took me to go eat like Costco hot dogs. And he, you know, he's just giving me this lecture on like, you're going to be okay. And I just remember regurgitating the hot dog onto him. And it got him so mad. Where he just, it's your fault you're like this. It's not my fault. He's just, and I remember getting out of the car. I'm pissed. It was like our hugest fight ever. You did this to yourself. You did this to yourself. And I was so mad. I like remember like walking home all like round home or whatever. I was all pissed. And then later on, like, you know, he did the dad thing. It was like like at the end of every 80s sitcom, you know, hey, can we have a talk? Come outside.
Did he bring you some fruit?
No, he had to talk to you very seriously. Hey, lower your music. This is not a nightclub, you know. Hey, you know, and he gave me this seashell.
So what's the quote?
It's, I am not what has happened to me. I am what I choose to become. And he says, I want you to, you know, he gave me an index card in the clam, and he's like, I want you to hang this up on your wall. Just keep saying it every day. You wake up in the morning, I want you to read this quote like 10 times, like you, the writing the you read the quote, you know. And the more and more I read it, I'm like, he's right. Like, why am I over here sitting like a pile? Like, this is not who I am. I'm not even trying to be better. I'm just feeling sorry for myself. I'm throwing up on my dad. You know, he's trying his best. I'm like, this has got to stop, dude. And I remember just trying, like, you know what? I can't skate. I'm going to go out there and try. Even though, like, my body's all vertigoed. If I get one push in, that's a start, right? I'm going to write more jokes, right? I'm going to use the sides of my brain that are working. And for some weird reason, I did that every day. And, like, and in that process, I healed myself. And out of that, right out of all of that, I got all these blessings. Because I think at that time, when you kind of hit the rock bottom, there's nowhere else to turn. It's like you either go further down or you got to start going up. And I thank that experience, because I think without knowing like how bad it can get, and I would have never have appreciated everything that is all the blessings now that have come my way. That's why I wake up every day happy, because I can wake up every day happy. I couldn't at that time, but I choose to become this way. I wake up, I choose to be happy. I choose to put love out instead of like negative energy. Like, and that's why I show that to people, because I want people to feel that, you know, and I go home feeling great. And it's because of this clam right here.
That's awesome, George. Thank you so much for sharing that and sharing that story with us.
Yeah, dude, for sure.
I'm interested in the outfit that you chose and all the pieces that you brought. But let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Yeah.
Sometimes, even the best of us can slip up. That's why the law offices of Scott Wormuth are here to pick you back up again.
And while they strive to get you the biggest compensation possible, oh my gosh!
Their main concern is your health and recovery. They work closely with doctors and insurance companies to make sure you get the proper medical treatment.
Initial consultations are free, so give them a call.
At the law offices of Scott Wormuth, we're with you all the way.
I'm Scott Wormuth. We've been fighting for your rights for more than 40 years.
All right, we're back with George. George, before the break, you shared that story with the seashell in the quote, and that was pretty awesome.
Thanks.
Before we get back to your story, when we come back from break, we like to ask a question from this box of cards called Icebreakers, and they're just a way for the audience to get to know each of us a little bit more. So here we go. What's your guilty pleasure?
My guilty pleasure?
Yeah.
Let me think. It's probably food.
What type?
Zucchini fries. I love zucchini fries.
Anywhere or a place in particular?
There is a place by where I skate in the morning. It's called Dino. It's one of those like run-down burger spots. You know, there's always like, it's Rick's, Dick's, Jim's, Jack's. It's one of those.
Okay.
But what I like about this place is I had been going there for so long that actually I saw it change owners from the owner who would used to like serve it out the drive-through window, and the cook took over. He like Scarfaced him and took over. And I kind of saw his like, you know, his come up.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, I'm going to support this guy. He went from like bottom to the top. And I don't know what it is. They make the best zucchini fries. And I don't even think maybe they're the best. It's just I have such an emotional connection to them. Because I've had them in like every phase of my life. You know, break up with a girlfriend, zucchini fries. Mm-hmm. You know, anything bad, get out of jail, zucchini fries, you know, like, so I associate that with like a strong memory, you know.
Sure. Are they like French fry or are they like the
no,
thick?
they're thick.
Oh, yeah.
Super thick.
And you eat it with ranch?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And for a while, I was literally eating them 5 days a week.
Wow.
But I was like, I don't think that's good for you, you know, eating zucchini fries every day. I don't know how I can live off that.
Well, certainly my guilty pleasure would be donuts.
Yeah.
I love donuts, all varieties. You know,
do you have a favorite
now they have
donut?
like, if it's done right, I think like a maple bacon. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
Nice.
Like when I see that, I'm like, oh, you know, I want to see how they did the bacon. Is it crispy? You know, all that stuff. But yeah. And then I'm, you know, there's so many more unique like styles of donuts that have come out now.
Right.
Oh, actually, you know what my favorite donut is? It's called a pickle dip.
Wow, I never heard of that.
Yeah, you know, it's in Canada, but it's a pickle donut. So it's like a savory donut with like a whipped cream cheese, green onion, and pickle.
Wow,
it's amazing. Yeah.
Sounds like a bagel though.
Yeah, it does, except it's on a raised donut.
Oh,
like it's in a raised donut. Yeah.
Oh wow, that sounds good.
Yeah.
What's that gravy called in Canada?
The gravy, schmalmpot?
No, there's another.
They
put it on fries and things.
Poutine.
Like that. Oh yeah,
Poutine.
Yeah.
What's your guilty pleasure, Scott?
Well, if it's food, probably I love frozen Greek yogurt.
Oh, yeah. Tell him about your yogurt.
But isn't that healthy?
Well, I don't know that it's. I think there's some of it, you know, some part of it, but it does have sugar.
Right.
Well,
So
you know, if you follow the serving size, maybe, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Let me hear.
I eat 8 of them a day.
8? Like today? Like
Well, tonight I will.
8? Wait, 8 in a little cup?
Yeah, 8 of
bars.
those, 8 bars.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Well, they come in packs of 4.
Okay, so you eat 8 a day?
I do. Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
800 calories.
No, I mean whatever. I mean that's how you choose to get your nutrition.
I would say 15 days out of the month I eat 8 of those a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like me and the zucchini fries.
Yeah.
Well, if you're watching online or listening, what's your guilty pleasure? Let us know. So, George, back to you. So, tell me about this outfit and the jewelry and stuff. Like, you obviously curated it for today, so I'm interested.
Well, I've always been into I like style, like my own style. Like I like to look how I feel on the inside. And so my favorite rap group is Wu-Tang. And so actually I have a theme for every day of the week for the kids. We have Teamwork Tuesday, and it's like, wear your favorite baseball team or sports team. And Wu-Tang happens to fall on Wednesday.
Okay.
And today is Wu-Tang Wednesday. So the kids are like, yeah, they listen to Wu-Tang. I don't know if it like, I get the clean version, of course. But yeah, this is a shirt. Old Dirty Bastard, ODB, famous Wu-Tang rapper, R.I.P. He said this at the Grammys when they won like best album of the year.
What does it say?
He said Wu-Tang is for the children, but it was like a joke, and it just became one of those like ongoing jokes that blew up into like a huge. It's a saying. So it's like Wu-Tang is for the children. So I wear this for when I teach at the children.
I see.
Then I wear like, I have a Wu-Tang piece. Shout out to King Ice. This is like a Wu-Tang chain, a Cuban, and then I have a Wu-Tang ring, another Wu-Tang ring for Tiger style.
Awesome.
But
Yeah.
I only wear this on Wednesday, so we just happen to fall on Wednesday. Like I can't wear Wu-Tang on Thursday.
What's Thursday?
Thursday's Thrasher Thursday.
Okay.
So that's like paying homage to like hardcore skateboarding. I wear like a Thrasher shirt. Friday's Freshy Friday. You got to have new threads, something fresh.
Wow.
Saturday is Ratter Day or Catter Day, wear your favorite cat or Garfield or something. And then Sunday Fun Day is like whatever you feel like that day, you know? It's Sunday. Let's have fun. Something colorful, you know?
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, I curate my days just to make it more exciting. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Well, George, when did you start doing stand-up?
So I started stand-up in about 2009. So I would say, was that 13 years ago? 14?
15.
15.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Didn't want to be a stand-up. Wasn't one of those guys that like, love stand-up. My favorite thing to listen to would steal Dad's Eddie Murphy Delirious 8-track tape, watch it, repeat, listen to it religiously. George Lopez CDs religiously. Never wanted to do it. I wanted Mike Logren to do it. How it happened was, you know, I just have a lot of stories that I would tell my friends. They would all think was funny, and their moms would be like, you should try stand-up. And I never thought of it. And I was at PCC on the like 10-year plan. Like, nah, dude, I was taking classes that I thought you needed just to take them to feel better about myself. Like, why am I taking architecture? Like, I don't even know how to like do any geometry at all. Like, so I'm taking all these classes, and I go see my counselor, and she's like, you need to take like extra credit classes. So I'm looking, and it was almost like out of a movie. I'm sitting on the bus bench and flapping through the pages, and then I come across a extra credit class for stand-up comedy. Like, what? This is a class? It said stand-up comedy. You got like 4 credits. Oh, dude, sign me up. I remember going in that class, and that was the day I dropped out of school. When I went into that class, I was like, I've been wasting my time for 10 years. I should have done this. I go in there, and they just want everyone to tell a story. So I told this story about how my mom and dad fought one day, and she was, you know, my mom's very passive aggressive. So she kept going to his office, and she would leave cookie trails on his doorstep to like say, I'm sorry. And he called me one night, man, tell your mom to stop bringing cookie to my door. I don't want any more cookie. And I like just this impression of him. I was like, he's like the cookie. I was like, no more cookie. And I just tell this story on stage, and it was just a real story. And I think the stand-up comedian coach was like, dude, I think you have something. He's like, that's stand-up. I go, really? And so from that, we would just kind of like develop these stories into bits. And every week you would go there, you'd have to come up with one new joke or one new, you know, you'd have to come up with 6 jokes. And the one joke that did the best in front of the class, you kept, and you scratched the other jokes away. And so by the end of the 8-week course, you'd have 8 solid jokes. And then for our final, we had to go perform at the Ice House.
Oh.
And I had developed a pretty strong bit. And that night at the Ice House, I performed my bit. And it was so weird because after I got off stage, you know, friends and family in the crowd, you did great. The manager comes up to talk to my stand-up comedy coach. And I was like, we have an opening in the next room. We're filming a thing called Comedy Time. we saw your boy's set. You want to ask him if he wants. So the same night I graduated, I got my first real professional set.
Wow.
I just went from the graduation room to the real room, and I told that same bit. And so after that, I did the bit, did well. I think that's it for me, right? Oh, that was fun, man. Stand-up was, didn't even think about pursuing it or anything. And then like 5 months go by, and I start getting tagged in some like link. What the hell is this? I clicked the link, and they put it online. It was a bit called Father Philosopher. It had racked like 100,000 views and all these comments. And then like people from school were like, dude, when's your tour? I'm like, tour? Like, I work at Burger King. Like, what are you talking? No, but you know, I'm just like, and I think from that, it catapulted me into stand-up. But it wasn't easy. It was not easy to take the road of stand-up. Like, I got my moment of glory there, but I suffered for like 9 years after that until I finally was able to be comfortable and start getting paid as a professional comic. Because it's a long road, man. It's like a battle every single time. You got to know your audience. You got to be able to read the room. You got to know like what type of crowd it is. It's like going on a different date every single time. Not every girl is going to be like the best, awesome girl you connect with. But you're going to have to find ways to connect with, you know, your date or whatever.
Do you have a standard set, or are you always changing it?
I do have a standard, like I have my go-tos, which I get booked for. A lot of times a booker will book you based on your act. Because why am I going to sell an act that I don't think is fun? Like, if I'm paying for this show, you better be funny, dude. You know, and a lot of these bookers, they'll just book, they'll get mad. They'll book someone on an act they see online, and the guy goes up there and tries new material, and they're like, huh? No one's laughing. What? Why don't you do the Michael Jordan bit? Oh, I thought it was... No, this is a show. People need to be laughing. And so, like, I have a bit that I do, which I get booked for, which is my set. And then if I want to work new bits or try to create something new, I'll just jump on, like, friends' shows or go to an open mic. Or you do, like, free guest spots. And that's when you can kind of, like...
Yeah.
Start to develop, but you don't ever want to go on a book show and like test out your. This is people pay like $40 for this, dude. Like, no, you got to do what's trialed, you know, proven and true.
How would you describe your comedy?
Very me. Like I go up there and I just talk about like I bring you in a George Wang's world. I'd say it's very personal but relatable. So I draw from my own pain, and I hope that someone else has gone through the same or just finds it funny, you know? I try to relate through my own circumstance. I'm not like a one-liner joke guy. I'm not a Mitch Hedberg. I'm not a Jimmy Carr where I go out there and insult everyone. I'm not a Joe Rogan where I have these intricate explanations on different subjects. Like, I give you George Wang. I give you the guy you heard on the podcast today, you know? Yeah. A more like refined version of that, you know, put into 10 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever.
I think I saw maybe from your feed this morning that you're going to do something in Glendora with Rick Isquieta.
Yeah, shout out to Rick. He's the one who put me on. Yeah, we're doing a recovery center for, you know, recovering addicts and stuff. I do a lot of those. Those are fun. And then I think I have something next Tuesday in Silmar at Casa Torres. It's like a Latino night. And then I'm doing a thing for the veterans on the 15th at some VFW. I put everything out on my Instagram, like post for like dates and stuff.
Yeah, awesome. Well, George, we're going to move on to the final segment of the show where we get to learn more about what you like in the San Gabriel Valley.
Yeah.
All right, George, this is what we call the SGV3.
All right.
And we want to know your 3 favorite or most memorable places or experiences in the San Gabriel Valley.
All right. Well, I'm going to have to go Chino Valley Bank first because that's where I started skating.
Okay.
But you got to go with the cafes. You can't go to San Gabriel Valley without getting a refill on your lemon iced tea, bro. Get out of here. If you're not here eating the baked bologna, it's like 5 different. You get the steak, the pork chop with 2 like they give you so much, right? Mushroom pepper sauce. It's that like spaghetti, but it tastes like SpaghettiOs. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
it's the same sauce. You want the pasta? I'm like, this isn't pasta. Yeah, you gotta have the cafes. I mean, I grew up in the 90s where when you went to Asian clubbing.
Yeah.
Like that was the next after hours.
Did you go to Garden?
JJ Garden,
Yeah,
bro.
right.
You see all your boys. Hey, dude, I saw you at Vanguard, bro.
Yeah.
Fights would break out in the parking lot. It was so much going on. Like it was like a car show, a fight. It was, those Hong Kong cafes. You have to.
Did you ever go to them when, like, after a certain time, like they would allow everybody to smoke, and they would give you like a little teacup,
Yeah,
and then
they'll
like
put the Bud Light in the teacup, dude. That's how dark SGV is. Dude, I'd be going to school the next day in high school. How was your night? Dude, I got faded off teacups. What did you do? Oh, we watched a movie and went to sleep. Like, get out of here. I've been out all night. Party, got JJ, Garden.
I remember,
ABC, dude. The dude got shot at ABC, dude.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, after a while, I stopped going to ABC. Yeah.
It was dangerous, like the railroad tracks. ABC became like a gang target.
Oh.
Yeah.
So like, remember when you couldn't go to certain cafes because the Asian boys, the V boys were hanging out there. Or like you couldn't go to certain cafes, dude, because you'll get hemmed up.
See, I know
they'll
these
get
names,
you, dude.
but I went to them for like lunch or something.
Yeah.
So you were there at 4 in the morning.
Yeah, 4 in the morning. Bacali.
Yeah. Oh man. And in high school when we were like super broke, I remember always getting like the chicken because it was like this. They give you like 2 huge pieces of chicken and the pepper sauce, and it was like $7.99 or something.
Stuff was still cheap. $7.99. Bacali's the half rotisserie lunch special.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for all those memories.
And then you can't forget the pool halls.
Oh man. Okay.
I got a good story. One of them was man. Okay, so my friend took this dude out. We didn't even know this guy. He just came out with us one day. We're having a good time. Everyone's playing pool. It was like out of an 80s action movie. Like the double door swing over right here at Embassy.
Okay, Embassy.
And 10 little Vietnamese guys come. Hey, where Larry at? I'm like, who's Larry? I guess my boy was Larry, dude. Next thing you know, hey, get him, dude. We couldn't do anything. These guys were strapped up. They had they were pointing at their thing's gun.
Wow.
They get him, dude. They hold them by both arms, dude. Like punching him in the stomach. The guy's throwing pool balls. Like, hey man, like Super Mario throwing fire. Come on, man, breaking the stick on him, dude.
Oh man.
Like they beat him so bad. I'd never been witnessed violence. Like, why? What did Larry do, man? And I just remember it just happened so fast. And like he was just bleeding everywhere and the blood and like, wow, dude. I was like, you should have called this guy out. Dude, next time let's do like guard it or something. Like, dude.
Wait, that was your most favorite memory?
Not my favorite. That was like darkest memory.
I'm just joking.
Yeah, no, that was not favorite. But it was definitely like the memory that's inscribed in my head. I think about that because how could you unsee that?
Right.
Did you ever go to IC?
No, that one was crazy, right? Montebello.
Oh, I think it was right off the freeway here.
Yeah.
International Club.
I was scared of that one.
I went once, and it was scary. It was really scary.
The guy I went to school with, his brother was the guy. O-Dog was the guy who
shot.
And I know the whole story. The guy owed him money, and that was my friend's brother.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was a famous incident at that club between Asian gangs, and someone got shot. It was all on camera too.
All on camera, yeah.
And I think that's why they closed down.
Yeah, they had to close it down.
Was that fairly recent? I mean,
No.
within the last 10 years?
No, like 20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I went back in the pager days. Remember pagers?
Yeah, the pager days.
I went to West Coast Billiards. Okay. And
so what gang were you in?
I wasn't. And we had like 3 cars, and some of my friends went inside to go get a table, and I was outside, and I was smoking then, and I was outside smoking with 2 of my friends.
Menthol?
I don't remember.
Menthol light.
and maybe 25 guys are coming out, and you can see through the glass, right?
Oh man. man.
And I'm just out there and watching them come out, and then they all surround the three of us, right outside there. And the window, everybody's looking. And the guy takes the cigarette out of my mouth and throws it at my friend.
Oh my God.
Right? And I'm just like, and I think I'm like, 14 at the time. And I'm just watching, and then they start just patting us down, and they took our pagers, took our cigarettes, and then they just left.
I'm not trying to laugh, but it's just like, wow.
It happened so fast, and I was like, oh man, did we just get jacked?
Yeah.
It was so fast. And then I was like, where were all you guys inside,
Dude, they would gang up on you, Scott, so hard.
Really?
It was like you versus, it was like Bruce Lee movie numbers. Like 80 guys.
Wow.
There's nothing you can do. You just hope that you'll be okay, honestly.
Wow, that's scary.
But what was interesting was that group was so mixed. and they were PR. I don't know if you know
Those
what PR
are like
is.
the Asian, PR, public.
Pinot Real.
Okay, yeah. They used to have like the white Asian guy and the Mexican
It was so
Asian
mixed.
guy.
And I was
So
like,
mixed.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't go to pool halls, kids. In the SGV back then, it was a dangerous place.
If you ever stumble upon a time machine and you go back to the 90s.
Well, Embassy is still right down the street.
I don't know if they still do they still have a pool hall there? I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
Embassy
so.
place famous for European pool, which is Snookers.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my dark SGV3. Thank you.
Yeah, those are the most, SGV moments.
Well, George, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your stories with us.
Thank you.
It was awesome.
blast.
If people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that?
You could follow me on my social media. Just don't follow me in real life. But it's George Wang Jr. on George Wang Jr. on TikTok, George Wang Jr. on Instagram, and Facebook for the older people, George Wang Jr.
Is that where they get in contact with you for the skating also?
I would say Instagram is the primary. Just DM. You could slide in my DMs. But yeah, for lessons or a comedy booking.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, George, thank you again for coming on the show. I had a blast.
I had a blast. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Well, there you go. I really enjoyed that. There's so many memories there, revealing some of the stuff that we used to get into in the SGV. But we always like shows like that where we can bring you people who have really experienced and done things here in the San Gabriel Valley, and maybe bring some memories to you or introduce you to some things that you didn't know about the SGV. If you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing. And if you want to support this show in a more meaningful way, become a patron. Check us out on Patreon, MySGV Podcast. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And until next week, we'll see you then. Thank you for joining us on the MySGV Podcast. Check out more of our content on our website, mysgv.net. This show was produced by Scott Warmoth, directed by Russell Mano, edited by Victoria Allers, and original music by Yone OG. If you'd like to join us next week as we capture and share more stories from our diverse community, feel welcome.
Nice mother. No, kind of mother.